itself off.
It's off. You're
But we
back
are
on.
live.
Yes. Once again, we had a bit of technical issues, but I think we are back.
Yeah, I was even gonna set up a mic and all that.
Uh, I should
Yeah,
start
but
budgeting for this stuff. I should,
this stuff is good, bro. I should
uh,
actually be looking at the camera, which is right ahead of me.
mm.
But I can see how crisp it is. We've got some lighting in. Maybe we haven't yet fully set it up right, but
So
we're getting there.
you have an entire studio setup.
It's a full studio. We've got two mics. We've got a roadcaster.
Shit.
We've got a camera here, HD camera. So, bro,
You
man,
sort
this is next level, bro. It's
you
not
hired
mine,
it
but
or what?
yeah, I'm actually sort of getting it for free at the moment. It's a friend of a friend who's setting
I
up
think
sort of a podcast studio, and because he heard that I'm already doing this, he said, "Yeah, come, use this stuff." I'm still learning how to use the Roadcaster. I actually even want to start doing like a Twitter Space. My passion for jazz. I want to start doing like a jazz show
mhm,
once weekly. Typically, I'm looking at like on a Sunday evening.
mhm,
Um, we've been having a few challenges about getting this right in terms of
mm.
how we set up on the. Let me just turn off my phone so that they don't disturb. How to get all of them wired up. But I mean, this is the future, bro. Once you
And
have this, it's essentially you have a full TV and radio station in your hands.
what equipment do you, for that setup? What equipment do you need?
All the equipment is here. So for the Twitter spaces, I think the challenge has been how to once I because I'll source the music from my laptop. How to configure the roadcaster to sort of pick the music. So the output from the laptop should feed in to the input of the Twitter Spaces, um,
The same
which
way
then
like the rogue radio
which
thing.
then which then will allow. Yeah, it's like Rogue Radio. I'm sure Akina Kibe have got this set up. Um, but yeah, so you'll have because even also the intention of this guy is to set up an online radio station. Um, and he has all the equipment right here with him. So
So what we
it's
have for the display, you need the two microphones and one HD camera. Yeah, and you are stuck. Is it your network or what?
I
You you
saw
fro- you froze for a few
I
seconds.
froze.
Uh,
It probably I don't know which side because also on your side you froze and then even mine went off.
but
Uh,
you are what
but
they call
today
it.
we,
You are
we have a good internet connection. It won't be like tomorrow.
your
Maybe what
pixels are fantastic, man. It's
you can
HD.
see you can
Yeah.
see HD, eh?
Hey,
And
hey, hey,
actually
hey.
I've configured it to 720p, but I could go as high as full HD.
How
So
much does it cost?
for the camera, I'll have to find out. So I'm not yet clear on that. But
I can just go.
um the roadcaster, I'll get you the model of all this, and then you can. But even for the camera, there's other simpler vlogging cameras you can set up. Your own phone also.
Mm.
Uh,
But
a
you see,
simple DSLR can also
uh-huh.
work it out. So um, it doesn't have to be. I think the key thing, maybe like the key is to have like this mixer, the Roadcaster mixer. But I've even been seeing another one. There's another one called Maono. It's called. Let
Mm.
me give you the name. It's called. Um, and it was. I was seeing it was costing about $100.
That's cheap.
I'm even seeing another one here, home studio recording kit,
Mm,
podcast music mixer,
mm,
and I'm looking at and this is a local online store here that sources their stuff from the US.
mm.
I'm seeing one costing 51,000 Rwanda francs. That's like 5K.
A full kit, 5,000
Ah, full kit, bro.
with the cameras and everything.
No, this one is. Let me share my screen. This is not with cameras. This one is with. It's a mixer. It's got the mics. Um,
Okay. What I would like to know,
mhm,
to have when you away from, okay, let's say away from the mixer and whatnot, let's say a very nice camera
mhm.
and earphones, headphones and a microphone. How much would that cost? Let's say the setup that you have now. I'm not interested in really mixing or anything. Just very nice, crisp picture.
Even without the mixer, I mean, the most important for vlogging I consider is probably camera, good
Lighting.
mics,
Yeah.
lighting, and good mics.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the mixer. I'm
Uh,
not running a radio station.
the mixer will only come in if you're doing radio stations, if you want to,
Uh,
incorporate things like, playing some jingles in between,
yeah,
those
yeah,
kind of
yeah. Sound
things that then
effects.
it makes if the sound effects, yes.
Mm.
But you can see this is a site they call ubuy.rwanda.rw. This is the one I was telling you, which
Mm.
cost about 51. This is a whole kit, home studio kit, and you can see it's got the mixer in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one mic, you've got
Mm.
the condenser thing.
Mm.
So this, you know, to start off.
Mm.
Okay, actually, this one is 100. Why did I see? No, I guess the one which was costing about 5,000
Mm.
Kenya shillings. So this one is like 10,000 Kenya shillings,
Mm.
but still very affordable when you think about it.
Well, it's affordable. So
Very
what
affordable.
if I'm talking in terms of just the nice camera
Hmm.
and a microphone? How much are we talking? A camera that can shoot like the way you look right now. Do you have lights?
I've got lights, yes. I've got about four lights here. So there are,
Oh,
there are there are three that are mounted on the wall, and we've
mm,
got a mobile one set. We've got also another one that we've not plugged in, and I guess probably that would have removed a bit of the shadow effect. But
mm,
I think if we would have mounted it on my left,
mm,
that would have done it. Anyway, I think this stuff we can get them. I mean, it's this basically is possible
mm,
when you think about, and I think it's a worthwhile investment to have. I mean, I can send you some of this information a little later on, and I think
mhm.
we can also discuss that at some point. But this is a worthwhile investment to have,
Very much.
of sort of having your own home studio,
Mm,
starting with a good mic, starting with it's a mic actually. Don't think of the speakers. It's not important.
mm.
You don't need to.
Oh, the
Speakers can be
microphone is
anything.
very.
It's a key
The
thing.
issue is the mic because the speakers are for you, as in you are the one who will be receiving it.
Correct. Correct.
For me, it's a good
Uh,
microphone and good, excellent lighting.
Excellent lighting. Yeah.
Is a ring light a ring light is enough, or we need to do more than a ring light? Combine a
Ring
DSLR.
light also actually is like at home when I shoot from the house. I have one ring light.
Me, I'm using
And
something
then
that
and then
works.
the rest is I use the house lighting. But even with
I'm
that,
using.
I see an element of adding some few more lighting. But ring
Mm,
light, in a typical sense, could also
mm.
suffice.
And the DSLR.
And a DSLR or one of those. I think I've seen. Let me see the Sony. I saw a Sony vlogging camera
So that one, it will now serve as the webcam for your computer, right?
for your webcam for your computer. So you don't use the webcam on your laptop because
Mm,
that
Is
That will
limited,
be,
somehow limited.
yeah, I'm seeing some of this. Let me share this bit. I've just gone in to show some of the stop sharing. Oh, it was still sharing. How comes? Let me share. I'm seeing here this one requires quite some investment. A
Oh,
good
for
digital
the
camera for content creators, vlogging and YouTube with a flip
how much it
camera.
cost?
So I'm seeing this one around 748. But there's one here
Eight-
for about 50. So this you're talking about 80 Gs. So
How
around
much?
50,
80,000.
80 Gs. Yeah. DSLRs I saw they are costing about 50. The last time was it 50 or 270? One of those.
But,
And you
but
can
they are
see even
very
this
worth
one
it.
comes with a mic. It has
Wow,
a
how
mic
much
here.
that
You
cost?
can see.
That's around 80,000. Yeah.
Yeah, around that'll be probably 90, coming to 1,000 with the dollar, the current rate it is. So,
Worth it. It's really
or
worth it.
even you could even do. I saw people even do what is this? What do you call these cameras? These tiny cameras that people use.
Mm.
What do you call those tiny cameras that people use either for when they're driving or biking? They mount them on their
Oh,
helmets.
GoPro. GoPro.
GoPros, yes.
Mm.
I saw even there was a YouTuber in Nairobi who was
Mm.
reviewing. She bought a GoPro, not the sort
Mm.
of original GoPro, but a
Mm.
similar sort of Chinese made, which looked also pretty good. And
Mm.
she was reviewing a shop which is in Kimathi Street.
Mm.
She's now selling sort of equipment for content creators. So you can also use some of this. So this is an investment of what?
It's something quite long term.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is even when you look at some of these content creators,
Mm.
if you go into more description of their videos,
Mm.
they will highlight the gear that they are using.
Mm. Mm.
So this could be one of the ways. So maybe identify maybe two or three makes and settle on one, and now probably work towards purchasing those for your own. But this is the future, man. We were just, I
Can
mean, I think is it Kibe who did even, I think did I didn't even listen to it fully.
mm.
Um he did a video about how TV is dead. This is the
TV is
future,
dead.
bro.
TV
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 and
died.
tradition, I mean legacy media is dead, bro.
Who
When you
watches
think
TV?
about
The last time I watched TV, I was
yes,
just following up on the voting of the finance bill, which I could have done
on YouTube.
online on
Yes.
YouTube or something. So the screen I have in my house is
Hmm.
for movies, nothing else, absolutely nothing else but movies. So he's right, very much right. This thing of TV and don't know uh,
I kept
stereo.
asking myself, I've been asking myself this. Kiss TV closed down a
And
few
it was
months
the
ago.
hype. It was like the hype of television stations of all places.
Correct.
Mm. Seeing-
But this is, and I guess this is probably the challenge mainstream media is having. How do they pivot to this new way of doing things? Because I mean, just look at this. When I look at this, this is an investment of about, at the very most, $1,000. $1,000, you can have a solid
Radio
uh,
station.
radio station, radio and TV stations
Put
with
a
you.
shout out to Sharif
Give
Mustafa
or
there.
take, maybe what between 2000,
Okay,
2000.
let's put it like this. Um, let's have a global. look at this thing.
Yeah.
A few years back, in the aviation industry, there used to be aircraft engineers.
Yes.
An aircraft engineer is the one, you see, these two pilot and co-pilot are sitting facing the outside the plane. The aircraft engineer would be sitting behind them, facing sideways, and he
Mm-hmm.
has a set of dials and switches. His job is to adjust parameters in the aeroplane systems.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the onboard aeroplane computer. It looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me, if I can have a picture. That thing, uh, from modern day aviation, aircraft engineers had to be rendered obsolete. We just craft on board. I can just put it. It's a very uh, tiny. It's not all that huge looking. Don't know if I can have it here. It is called Flight Information Management System, something like that.
Mm-hmm. You've posted it on WhatsApp.
Oh, no, no, hold on. On board computer. Let me just get a picture. I can't get. Here it is. Let me just copy image. I'm pasting it in your WhatsApp. You can just check it now.
Okay.
That is the gadget that replaced aircraft uh, aircraft engineers. Maybe you can post it there.
Yeah, just 1 minute.
Yeah. With that, aircraft engineers, thank you very much. Bye bye. Gone.
Exactly.
Because
That's it.
they used to sit like the way I'm seated here. I'm the pilot, then co-pilot,
Mhm.
then behind us, facing the wall, is be the aircraft engineer, making
Mhm.
adjustments on various parameters. One day,
Mhm.
gone, and they have been gone for over 20 years.
And that's exactly what is happening.
Check your camera, please. Check your camera. I think your camera is gone.
Okay.
And okay, a few
Sorry.
years ago, we used to have aerial photographers. These guys used to ride on helicopters to take pictures. Now we have
Yes,
drones.
exactly. I don't know. We
Uh,
were just talking about it actually the other day with someone. I
uh,
mean, just imagine the cost of one
and
hiring the
that and those
helicopter.
guys were specialists. His job is
Man,
only. You can imagine the prestige that is an aerial photographer. He
correct.
specializes in taking photographs from the air. Drones came in. Goodbye.
Goodbye to Aero. That's
Okay.
essentially that's what the
And
TV
it is in so many. So we should not be having all these razzmatazz and jitters about TV going. If it is TV is meant to go, let it go.
yeah, it's a
The problem
paradigm.
we have,
It's a new dispensation.
the
We are.
problem we have is
Mhm.
issues of holding on to things. But if something is meant to go, let it go. How many tellers did ATMs send home? How many
100%.
tellers? How many tellers did ATMs send home? We have
For me,
banks. Uh, yes.
I guess the challenge I'm seeing now is, and I guess maybe that's the order of things. Whenever there's this sort of a paradigm shift happening in a call it a sector, an industry, like now it's in the media industry with the disruption that the internet has brought along and social media platforms. Um, I was giving that illustration of Kiss TV. So Kiss TV closed down,
Yeah.
and you can see even the entire media group that is the what do you call this, the Radio Africa, and I guess every other mainstream media group, you can see they have been struggling.
for
and
a long
and
time.
uh, and of course you've seen the advertising dollars going down because partly they are sharing it with some of these local or other traditional, or now the content creators that are using YouTube are also sharing in terms of those advertising budgets that the likes of Safaricom, Coca-Cola, and other multinationals have. So part of it, they're spreading it across mainstream, but slowly transitioning now to this new way of doing things. But it seems like the uh, mainstream media has not yet quite caught up or figured out
It
how to
can't up.
change.
It can't catch up because it's dying.
It's I guess it's they're also sort of so
Okay,
stuck in their old ways
let me
that they
ask you.
can't see the new way of
Let me
things.
ask you. Let me ask you. When the flight management computer was brought in, what was there for the flight engineers to do?
Nothing after it
Nothing.
was brought in.
Same
Yeah.
same case with the radio station, TV
But I
station.
guess, I mean, the point is they could transition into another role once their role was sort of made invalid after the introduction of this new device. Is now figuring out how do you go ahead of that curve. And I guess that's what I'm saying now. The likes of Kiss TV have not figured out, and other mainstream media organizations have not figured out how do they go ahead of that curve such that they are not. I've lost power on one of my lights, and you can see how it looks
Uh,
like.
you
Just
look
1
like
minute.
in that episode of Twilight Zone, and you are boss. You are
So
you
Kiss
lost you,
TV,
you lost you lost your sound briefly.
yes. Oh, it's my battery. It went off.
Hmm.
Um, no, I'm the one who had muted just to get
Okay,
my
okay.
guy here to
Hmm.
set up. But I mean, the point is because I kept thinking, okay, if these guys are clever, just imagine the equipment they have. They've got professional studios in there. How about if they were to hire this to content creators? Say, guys, if you guys need professional cameras, need professional mics, uh, good studio, we are offering this equipment. Come shoot your content at our studios. Come shoot your podcast at our studios. I mean, you only have organizations like Semabox. I guess there are a number of others that are coming up. Um,
But
so
do you realize how much of an operations uh, how do I call it when you are how much of an operations downscale that is?
yes, I mean, but it's
That
it's
is
all
that
about
is that is
changing,
actually
changing.
that is actually there's going to be a very huge drop in revenue.
Hmm.
They would actually consider just dropping everything out. They could consider dropping because when you compare the investment
Hmm.
versus that line of dealing with influence and hiring out studios and whatnot, how
Hmm.
how how much are you going to, because the bulk of money they make is from advertisers. And I once got some prices I need to confirm. The prices they charge for prime time adverts are exorbitant, but an influencer can actually show your content. And see, an influencer now, for example, there's this lady I'm hearing her online. She's very famous. She has 1 million followers because of a very big bum. She doesn't have equipment, or she can advertise your product from a bathroom and the message will go through. These
Yes.
corporates have human resource manager, business development manager, manager of the management, parking lot supervisor, chauffeurs, personal assistant to the CEO, deputy chairman of whatever. A very huge network of, I call them financial bleeders. How do you expect them to tap into
Amazon.
this? Eh,
And but that's the point, if you have to pivot, for me, they need to consider it as probably another revenue chain or another product offering that they have,
they
where they
should
are not,
start
you
by
shouldn't look at it. And even the other way they could think of it is, how about if they sign this content creators to be together, to be partners? So
you or some
we
sort
are
of an
gonna,
outsource.
yes, you guys go create your content, but we are gonna host it within our network. It's like even
Yeah,
Kibe,
yeah.
somebody like Kibe now, once he grows his platform, it could be a platform that now, does signs other content creators under the Kibe
Uh,
platform.
Unfortunately, that thing of somebody like Kibe working with the TV stations, I shared that idea with him some time back,
Mhm.
and he shot it down immediately.
No, no, no. I'm not even saying him signing
Mm,
to a radio station. It is
mm.
him building a channel or a network where he's now signing, even like us. Maybe we could all be signed under the Kibe platform. So, like this content we are creating,
Oh,
it,
like
it was
we used,
within that brand name of Andrew Kibe,
or
whatever the network will be called.
like when we used to have, I don't know if it's there, the Cartoon Network, various
It's like
cartoon
Cartoon Network.
productions falling on. Yeah, yeah. Now, that's what people sitting in a boardroom in a legacy media station should be discussing. Those are the key things they should be talking. But
Exactly.
they are really, but they are doing a lot of what you call firefighting, shedding workers and firing people left, right.
These guys are so behind the curve. They are not, and I don't know. Maybe they're so steeped in their old ways that they can't think of this new way of. It's like what they call putting in. Is it putting in
Wine,
oil, wine in an old wine skin, or what's the term? What do they say?
putting new wine in old wineskin.
Wine skin, exactly. Putting new wine in old wine skin. I think
Doesn't work.
it requires a lot of unlearning. It requires, a different way of thinking, which they don't have at the moment. I've seen actually the other good thing now, just in reference to what you are saying. Uh, there are now content creators. I saw one lady who does a podcast, and she is now selling that podcast to Nation FM. So
I see.
Nation FM runs that podcast of hers. I think it's every Wednesday around 7 to the evening. So this is a new way of doing things that we're going to see, where we're going to have sort of syndicated shows, because she could even take that content and sell it to another network, another station, if she has not yet locked herself into some kind of exclusivity clauses and those kind of things. But if she has left it open, I'm sure there's money she's making off that. And maybe even what the deal could be between the two of them is, if there's gonna be any brand looking to advertise on a podcast, it will be shared between them. Whatever split they have agreed on is, it's only the two of them that are privy to those details. But this is a new way of doing things. So now, you know your regular run of the mill kind of person can start his own TV station and or radio station and run a number of programs. Could be a music program, could be a talk show, could whatever it can be.
I
And
remember,
this is a disruption that is happening, and those that are not there, they won't see it.
if I can recall, as recently as I think 5 6 years ago, we would need to invest in airtime in a studio for us to have such a thing like what we are
Mhm.
having now.
Yes.
You need to book a studio, pay for airtime, watch the
Yeah.
TV. It would be a headache. You'll be, somebody will actually We'll go to the station, we'll be talking to the, I don't know, marketing manager or sales manager, we'll get a quotation, we will be told now the slots are all booked, come on such and such a day, and what, and it will probably be a one-off. We won't be having money to do it every Saturday. And that
It's
is
so
why
expensive.
I listen to this guy called Sadhguru. This is the best time to be alive
Man, it
because
is.
computers are taking over nearly everything. So the only thing that is left for human beings to be is to be human, to be creative, to be solvers, to be improvers, things that computers can't do. So
Yeah.
if you are the management type of guy, oh, this is how we do things, we've been doing this for 35 years, you're going to be
Mm,
phased out.
mm,
Yeah? Like our
100%.
like our friends who like boasting about oh, we are the ones who can drive heavy commercial vehicles with manual gear. My friend, pole pole to relax. In the
Although,
entire
although,
apart from
although it
uh
does feel good to drive a manual car than
it
an
does.
auto car.
It
Man,
does.
and you know now in Kenya getting a manual car is so hard, bro.
They are easy to get. Yeah, you can easily get
Are
them.
they easy?
Yeah, if you ask for you say I want a manual car in Nairobi,
You get it.
within a
But
day,
even some of the new brand new vehicles coming, they're
mm,
all auto.
you can have your own. You can outfit a manual gearbox if you wish. This is the beauty of the world. Mm.
Mm,
So, like in the entire European tracking network, I'm doubting if there's any prime mover that is automatic or is manual. It's only in America that we have
yeah.
this gearbox called Eaton Fuller. I think
Hmm.
Sharif Mustafa can confirm. It's called an Eaton Fuller gearbox. You find
Hmm.
them in these long nose trucks because there are
Okay.
some old school American truckers who are really into manuals. But then again, the companies that are running automatic trucks, they are getting an easier time because they are getting many drivers willing to drive.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day,
exactly.
the only
And now, if
thing
you
left,
know, when particularly when you have also women wanting to come into tracking,
yeah, mm,
they've
mm,
made it so easy for them.
mm.
So they have lost that. I mean, I know probably in America, people adopted auto much faster than compared to Europe. Europe, I think they were still very much holding
But
on to the manual cars.
for
Even in Africa, if you go to SA,
mm,
um, you find a lot of cars are actually still very much manual cars.
but
No, unless
for
you go to
tracking,
Mm,
there's a very strong community of manual shifting trackers,
mm,
especially the
mm.
Eaton Fuller gear shifting system.
Oh,
It's still very powerful. It's still the community is very strong in the United
oh.
States.
Is it
But
different than your typical gearbox?
it's a
That
normal
Eaton.
gearbox, but it's
Mm.
called an Eaton Fuller gearbox. It's manual.
Ah, okay.
It's very common. The community is still very strong. But
Mm,
in
mm,
Europe, you go to places like Germany, UK, Sweden, Holland, Belgium.
mhm,
Majority of the vehicles, these are the Mercedes Actros, Volvo, Scania, Iveco.
mhm.
Those vehicles are fully auto. In fact, they are pushing very much on the optimized auto transmission systems. So they are really because they are very strong on fuel consumption and environmental
Mm,
stuff and keeping things green. So they believe an auto transmission will do that to work better than a human being. But in America, that community of manual shifters is still there. But
you're
as
still
I
there.
said, we are at a point where you are at a very big advantage if you become just what a human being is supposed to be creating,
Mm.
solving, improving. The people of routines, if you're a routine oriented person, you would wish you were in the 80s. 80s and 90s, man, routine. Eh? You actually have,
It's the old way of doing where it was like what do they call that? That production life
yes.
kind of thinking where you come
Mm,
in,
mm,
clock in at 8 a.m. And all you're doing is the same manual mundane job. But
Yes,
people
repetitive.
are craving for some sense of creativity.
Mm.
People are craving for some sense of um, ownership. How do they, I think a lot of that life used to be very robotic, if you might, because in
Yes.
essence, human beings are doing things that could be
Mm.
done by machine. If you do any, we say in like the work we do, where we do process improvement. If anything is repeatable, that
Mm.
can be automated.
Yes.
Essentially, you can be able now to incorporate or introduce technology or machine to do
Because the
that.
logic is so simple.
It's the
Yeah.
same.
A B
It's
C D repeat. A
back.
B C D repeat. A B C D repeat.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
As you can see, Sharif Mustafa has confirmed there. Each one full manual transmission is very, very. It's an 18 gear manual.
18
So,
gears.
so it's and these guys take pride.
No,
It's
I
a
can
very
imagine.
these guys. There's actually it's so strong. They actually have a simulation program that trains you on the Eaton Fuller. You sit with the
Ah,
steering wheel and a manual thing, and as you shift, it gives you an indication on the screen. Wrong shift, correct shift. It's like I don't know. It's like a culture.
no,
It's
and
like a
I can imagine the pride. That's what I'm saying. It like for
now,
me,
now imagine it is even going past. It's like a culture because if they are making computer simulators for training you on the manual Eaton Fuller,
yes,
because you have the gear shift next to you
yeah,
and the screen or
mm,
ahead of you that
yeah,
notifies you if it is a correct shift
hmm,
because the pattern of the gear is on the screen.
yes,
The purpose of it is for you to change the gear while looking ahead, not looking on the shift. So you are looking ahead and shifting. It goes red, wrong shift. Blue, correct
hmm.
shift. That is actually a culture, not even pride. Somebody born in a family where his dad was driving an Eaton Fuller shift. He finds it
I-
unthinkable to drive automatic. How? How automatic? What do you mean automatic?
have
So
you
now
seen?
that
I
is
mean, have you seen the memes on people who drive manual versus autos?
yeah, yeah. I saw there's a one for
Those
two
those
lions.
those.
One lion for this lion operates manual, looks bold and
Yeah.
with us black men, high testosterone. The automatic one, the lion has a ponytail.
Yes.
So that is see, there are what you call niche technologies. They'll never go out.
No, I can imagine the pride, as I said, even for me, because my first two cars were all manual.
Push off for
Before
five or
then,
what?
yeah, I bought a Peugeot 405. I got
What was
that
the
from my
thing?
uncle, and I had a
Was that
Toyota. What was it? But that was all manual. I think before now I transitioned into this automatic
the 45
nonsense,
was
man.
45 was Marshall East Africa, Netherlands.
Marshall, East Africa.
Oh, then
It
you
was all
got a
from
brand
Marshall.
new car.
Even I used to take it. I used to take it to service in there. I
Wow.
mean, it was a bit pricey, but then what happened is what I ended up doing is I got one of their mechanics and
Yes,
I
side
would
job.
call him, yeah, I would call him for a side job. Actually,
Yeah.
that's how I used to do all my cars.
Mm. Yeah, at least you get the
Invest like
expertise.
on the first servicing, invest at a dealership, and
Then
then
you
from
get
there,
make friends
create
with
the
someone.
rapport.
Yes.
Exactly.
So they
Because
just come with the spares, kabisa kabisa.
you get original stuff. This guy is fully trained in how to handle this machine. I mean, I'm looking at the guys who are doing the safari rally.
Mm.
I was even commenting, I think, on one of the Twitter pages where they were talking. I think somebody took an image of the mechanics that were fixing
Mm.
the rally cars, and you were saying, some of the unspoken heroes are the men
Mm.
who are the mechanics that do all the work that is not seen out there. And I was like, man, somebody should actually just record that. Just put a camera there, and I would rather watch that shit for
Oh,
hours.
then what about when you see Formula One mechanics changing tires? In Formula One,
Man,
in
in how many
Formula One,
seconds now?
in Formula One, if
Mm,
a tire change, I'm one who supports Formula One.
Yeah.
One of the most jittery moments
Mhm.
in my Formula One watching session is at the pit stop. The
Exactly.
moment the pit goes beyond 3 seconds, I start screaming, 3 seconds, Meribu
They have
bwana.
wasted a lot of time. What's
You know,
the goal
Meribu,
now? Are they
three
pushing
seconds,
to once? 3 seconds
two,
is the fastest. What
hey,
are they working
no,
towards?
it has to be as low as 3 seconds is horrible.
It's too
Three,
long.
even the commentator will be screaming, "Oh my God,
They're
they've binned
losing
it."
time.
Because 3 seconds,
Yes, sir.
that is 3 seconds is horrible. It's a fucking mess. 2.8, and this guy is gone. So
I'm,
I
I'm,
think
I'm there. I think I touched one of the cables. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So
Okay.
3 seconds, that is just you are sliding into a sewage pit.
Mm.
2.6, okay, 2.8, they'll be like a bit slow, a bit slow. 2.5, good pit stop. 2 seconds, excellent pit stop. The world record, I think, should be, I think,
1 point
Williams.
what? Uh,
There is, I think, 1.75 seconds.
God damn. So one
And
our car is in and out.
in
Man,
fact,
that is so
the
fast.
the FIA intentionally tried to made a move to slow down that time further because those pit crews practice.
I know.
They
Yeah,
practice.
yeah.
They are not, when you go to the factories, they have a car. It is rolled. They do a practice test in out. Let's see. Then when they are during the Bahrain testing, they do those
Mhm,
tests and whatnot. So
mhm,
that pit stop time,
mhm.
man, that then there's wing change. When they a Formula One,
Wow.
you can only change the tires and the front wing. Yeah,
Mm,
tires and front wing. When it comes to front wing change, the pit stop should take now, I think, 3.5, 4 seconds. Because you have to, when you are hitching up the car, you are hitching using the wing.
mhm.
So first you change the wing, then you hitch it up, then you move the tires. And there's actually some very major technology behind it because those wheel guns, some of them are patented. The
Oh, really?
Mercedes, like the Mercedes wheel gun,
Mhm,
those things are patented. Like for example, normally see them pushing and just spinning. That thing is programmed.
mhm,
I know the Mercedes wheel gun is programmed because you push it, then when it comes into contact with the tire, it will spin for a particular number of revolutions because it knows that this tire has been tightened at a certain torque, and to achieve this torque, you need this number of revolutions. So that gun is programmed to spin this number of revolutions to remove the tire and spin this number of revolutions to return it. You save time. Not
man.
spinning until you feel sasa imekuwa lose. You lose time. It is programmed. Let's say it made 50 tons to tighten the tire. Then you'll need 50 tons to unlock it. Because if you are doing, let's say, 53 tons, those extra 3 tons, that is time wasted.
Mm, mm,
Mm.
mm.
Yeah. And each tire has 3 people: the gunman, the person removing it, the person
Mhm.
loosing the tire, and the gunman to push it back. So, okay, as much as I'm not really a fan of rallies. Ever since I started watching Formula One, mine is just Formula One.
I mean, if I was to choose, I think I'd still pick Safari Rally, man. I mean,
But
I
then
guess
again,
I don't know if it's.
fun
Mm,
enough, Formula One drivers really, really
like
respect
Safari Rally.
They respect
I mean,
them.
it's the conditions. Just imagine the conditions with which you're doing.
They respect them, like, because there was a time
Mm.
one of the I think one of the Formula One drivers sat in a rally car and he said, no, this
This
was
is a whole different animal.
because
You saw even the
because
Prezo when he was getting into that car and when he took the first test drive.
by the way, that
with,
issue of the president, was that
Mhm.
guy allowed to push, or he was told, "Wait, nenda pole pole," or what happened? Because he has to be given instruction. This is head of state, so he'll be told, "Don't push hard." Because I know somebody used to tell me, somebody who had I no longer talk with him. We drifted apart, but he used to
Mhm.
say in rally driving,
Mhm.
as long as you feel you are not going out of control, you're not going
Mm.
fast enough. That's what they used to say. If you
So
feel you
that's
are in fully control and you are
y-
comfortable, you are
you're
slow.
not driving. You're slow.
You're slow. Now, I was wondering, was he told, Nenda pole pole? That's what I want. There must be a story behind it.
I'm sure. I'm sure he didn't quite push it as much. I mean, the
Yeah.
idea was to give him a bit of an experience,
Yes, a
but
tour.
still, the experience in and of
Mm,
itself
mm,
for your regular driving
mm,
feels like out of this world. Even for you, you have to get into that rally car
mm.
and just co-drive with a professional driver. You'll be, man. That would be like quite an experience.
First
Um,
off,
Even the guys who do race track. I mean,
mm,
that's the whole idea. If you go to a, you know, probably one of those racetrack. I think there are a couple of them in Europe, like
mm,
is it Italy and all these places where
mm.
you can get into
Oh, Nürburgring.
high
There's one called
performance
Nürburgring.
car. Yes, get into
Nürburgring.
an high performance car and just spin around. That too. I mean, I was actually even thinking about that. That Kenya now needs to figure out how they can monetize this in the bit of probably create a museum, probably create a performance center where somebody can go in and experience a real rally car, and these are things you could charge and monetize on. A museum that will talk of the history of it, how it started, how Kenya has always been a favorite spot to of hosting it because of our parks and those kind of things. We really don't know how to monetize our shit, but this is things that we could look at. But I'm really liking the following through on the safari rally that is ongoing now. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the moment I got into Formula One,
Mm.
but you see, this guy Formula One, what it's actually is a vehicle development series.
Yeah. Hmm.
What is the you see? It's the only sport where you build your own car.
Mm. I think
Formula.
also with the safari rally is the same thing, eh?
No. So for rally, a rally
Mm.
car has to
Hmm.
be based on a road car.
A roadworthy, a real life car.
Yeah, it is
Of
made
course, it's
out of
got
a road.
much more high performance and those kind of things.
There are issues like engine power. There's a limit to engine
Mm.
power, but it has to be on a vehicle that is actually on the road that is used by normal people.
Commercial, yeah,
Uh,
commercial ready
no,
car. Yeah.
so that you have to be based on it. But for Formula One, you build your own car ground up
Hmm.
based on this is where I like about the lingo. You build
Hmm.
your own car based on your interpretation of the FIA regulations.
Hmm.
This is where the madness comes in. But now they are a bit fair. Uh, some teams cannot build a full car, so there's some leeway. You can invest. You
Mm.
can buy an engine. You can buy a gearbox, and you can buy things like suspensions. But that Formula One car is called the monocoque. That
Ah.
monocoque, say
Mhm.
monocoque is whereby the chassis and the body are one thing.
Mm.
So monocoque, the front wing, rear wing, you have to build yours from ground up, and you use what do you call these wind tunnels
Mm.
to. Now here's the sweet bit about F1. The higher you finish at the end of the
Mhm.
league, the season, the less
Mhm.
wind tunnel time you have. So to make it
Mhm.
fair, so those
Mhm.
guys who finish last, they have opportunity to spend more time on the wind tunnel, develop their cars. Now for things like engines, you don't have money to buy an engine to build your own engine. So like that's why we have factory teams and customer team. The factory team builds
Mm.
everything from ground up. A customer team will buy, for example, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Alpine are those are factory teams.
Factory teams. Uh-huh.
They build
Red
everything.
Bull, the Red Bull teams, are
Now,
they what?
Red Bull, this
Uh-huh.
is what happened to Red Bull. Red
Mm-hmm.
Bull used to be a customer team
Mm.
buying from Honda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, Honda pulled out of, they are returning in 2026, but
Okay.
they pulled out, I think, last year. So, what they did, Red Bull adopted their facilities, the engine building, they call the Red Bull powertrains. So, we can say
Mm.
Red Bull is a factory team now
Factory. Okay. So they
because they
just
took
bought
over.
that entire unit now.
Yeah, okay, because we have
But it's all
engineers.
based on Honda still.
Yes, based on Honda technology. So
Mm.
Mercedes, we have four factory teams and six customers.
Which are the example of customer teams?
So let's say Mercedes is
Mm.
supplying engines to McLaren, Williams,
Oh,
and Aston Martin. Aston Martin, they are moving back to Honda. Since Honda is coming back in 2026, they have signed a deal with Honda. Then
Aston
Ferrari,
Martin, they don't have their own engines.
no, they're not using their own engines. Formula One engines are damn expensive.
Mm.
Because in 2018,
Mm.
a Formula One engine would cost over, I think, 300 million shillings, if my memory is right.
So that's
Over,
about what, $3 million.
over 300 million shillings. I don't know
Wow.
about now, but at that time it was quite expensive. So,
So it
uh,
must be still higher now
yeah.
if you're
So, but now
talking on
there's a cost
the
cap. There's a
current
cost
rate.
cap. There's a cost
Yeah.
cap. So then we have Ferrari. Ferrari, as you know, it is definitely a factory team.
Yeah.
They are selling to Haas, and then they are selling to another team called Alfa Romeo. Those two.
Ah,
Then
okay.
we have Alpine. Alpine is a factory team, but they are not selling to anyone. Alpine used to be called Renault.
Renault. Oh, okay.
So Alpine is the F1 version of Renault, and
Mm.
they are not selling to anyone. In fact, uh, people who are using Renault engines really suffered. They are not so good. So we have four teams, factories. Then they sell to the rest. And somebody was asking, what if a factory team may decide, since I'm selling to you and you are competing with me,
Yes.
what's the possibility of me selling you a fake
Unless
engine?
exactly. That's what I thought. So if
Now,
Mercedes is selling to McLaren.
hmm, then that one
Mm.
you'll be shooting yourself in the foot because
Mhm.
F1 is research based.
So
So
it's
when it
highly
comes to
highly
research,
controlled. Mm.
apart from that, when it comes to research, data samples are very important.
Mm.
So when you are producing two vehicles this season, one team, two cars, you are researching on those two engines for this season.
Mm.
Now, if I'm selling two engines to you and I don't make them properly, I'm reducing my sample data.
Mhm.
I better make them equal kabisa, so that when it comes to getting the reports, I know, oh, this one is like the sample is bigger. And we are at a
Mhm.
point where Formula One, in current Formula One, is aerodynamic driven, no
Mm.
longer power driven. Before 80s, 90s was just brute force, like
Mhm.
Williams. The aerodynamics were not so good, but they had very powerful engines. So as much for the last, don't know, 6 years they are at Okokwam Kia, but they're the most successful team because a very large, uh, that era of brute force was very long. But now we have the era of aerodynamics, whereby Mercedes is ahead, but the person they are selling the same engine to, Yuko Kwamikia, is behind. Why? The aerodynamics is completely off spec. So it's
Mm.
very, it's the sport for Formula One is very technology driven. Rally, on the other hand, see, the beautiful thing about rally, that route you are taking as a driver, you don't know it. You're relying on
Mm.
personal. Like when
Exactly.
I used to play Formula One
Yeah, you see them
simulators,
with even with big notebooks
and those are
having
called
to
personals.
as a co-driver. Yeah.
Yeah, when I used to be a fan of Formula One WRC games, I'd actually cram those. See, like when you hear, I don't know, there's a way British say it and the way the other Americans or other people saying. They will say when you
Brian, I
say
don't know if it's
hun-
just me, but you're not very clear. It seems like you're breaking. I don't know if it's on my end or it's on your side. Now you've even frozen. Okay, now it's like you're back.
okay, so like when you hear 100 meters right
Let me see.
5 inch, you can hear me? I'm now clear.
Not quite.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I'm breaking off.
Yeah, it's scrambling. The sound is not very clear.
And
Sharif,
what
if you
about now?
how you receiving us? How is it from your side? I don't know if it's on my side. Um, I'll also
So
do it.
Sharif can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's not very clear. It's like
Uh-huh.
the way it's scrambling noise.
He says
How is your speed? Let me even
he said
test mine.
Sharif Mustafa says he can hear me clearly.
We can hear you clearly, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it my let me see. Let me see something. Let me test something here.
Mhm.
I've reduced on my camera settings.
Uh-huh. Or to reduce resource consumption and the speed and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you
That means
have
I think I'll need to look at the internet here in the studio to see.
mm.
Because even I'm trying to run a test now and it's still
Now you
yet
are
to load
okay.
the
Now
page.
you are perfectly okay.
I'm perfectly good, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even you now, I can hear you more
Mm.
coherently now. It's flowing. Anyway, we should also be wrapping up at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it's been a good session. I think we need to we're looking at the disruptions happening in the media sector and generally the disruptions that have been brought about by the internet and as we began to adopt more of computers in our own lives. And then just having that car talk on safari rallies and F1. I think that
Mm.
was a good one, right? But yeah, I think with that, I think we'll call it a day
You can
or a
give a big
night.
shout out to our lone wolf audience coming here to listening to rambling of two mad people. I don't know if
Salute
you
to
are
you,
mad.
brother.
Uh,
Thank you very much, Sharif.
mm.
Mustafa, we enjoy your company. I think there was another person who logged in. Of course, he didn't uh, engage on the chat, but all the same, even the silent watchers, uh,
No problem.
we
We are, we,
appreciate you.
we are with you spiritually, whatever
Yes,
that is.
wherever you are, even if you watch us in the toilet, it's
No
like
problem.
the Kibe viewers. So they don't want to be seen that they are watching Kibe.
No problem. We wish you happy flashing. All the best.
Yes,
And
yeah,
remember to spray the air freshener when you are done. Otherwise,
exactly.
nasema asante sana. Adios till next Saturday.
Adios. See you then.